Hey, this is Bruce, and here's the solution for the 3D Transform Challenge. It's going to be a short one because I've given you so many hints, but there are a couple of details I want to look at, including perspective. So if you followed the tutorial, you probably have something like this. A platform with a text on top, and if you hover over it, the platform rises a little bit along with the text. We can add a little bit of an animation on the text itself. So what we'll do is we'll set the opacity of the text to 0, and then we'll add a transition with ease in and out on the opacity of the text. There we go. That's why I wasn't getting the automatic finishing. So now let's add hover. So we've got our platform hover here, but we want to add a hover for the text as well. So it's, again, we're still going to use the same platform and the same pseudo element hover. This time we're going to apply it to the paragraph, and we'll set the opacity to, let's say, 0.9. And then we'll add some text shadow. And I think, maybe 2 pixels for the X, so the X distance or X offset, 6 pixels for the Y offset to bring it up off the surface a little bit, and we'll set the spread or the blur to 6 pixels as well, and we'll set the RGBA. Let me see here. We want it pretty dark, so we'll set it to. So I'm going to select 96 and Control D, Control D. So I've got a multiple select, and we'll set it to 32. And we'll set the opacity down to, let's say, 50%. And if we upload that and come back to here, and now you can see as we hover over, only then does the text appear with a little bit of a drop shadow on it, or text shadow on it. The other thing I wanted to mention was that we can also change our perspective, or kind of like changing a camera in 3D space. So if I come back here to my section, and I'm going to create an ID, and we'll call it, I guess, S for section 3D, for lack of a better better ID. And so then we'll create a selector, so S3D. Notice that you can't start a selector with a number, or you can't start an ID with a number, so that's why I put the S in front of it. And so we're going to add perspective, and we'll set it to, I think the default, if I'm not mistaken, is around 1500, so it's like we are 1500 pixels back from the element. So let's just come back here and check that out. Oh, it's changed it a little bit, so I don't quite have the right perspective. But if I go in here and select that section, and we start to change, right? So you can see I'm not changing the shape or the angle. All I'm doing is changing my perspective. So if I kind of get closer to it and from a certain point of view, right, we can see that it stretches out, or the perspective of it stretches out. And there's a few other things that we can do with offsets and things like that, but that should give you a good overview. So the codes here, we'll make it available for you as well, but essentially to the tutorial, right, where we set up the hover on the platform, we've added the text, and then we've added a little bit of an opacity and a little bit of a text shadow, which of course you can play with to get the exact effect and shape that you would like. Another challenge would be to have multiple platforms with multiple different kinds of text, make them clickable to go to different elements or areas on your page. I hope this helps.